Good morning, all. Luis Miguel Aleixo from BRIK Projects. Today's show, What is Real Estate Tokenization, is all about providing awareness in terms of what's happening in tokenized real estate around the world. Thank you for people who join us live so far. Thank you, JC, Indy, Blockchain John. Thank you for just about a few minutes. Allow people to join us. Just been playing a great song by our good friend. SOS on side, jamming in GM, the Lobster Machine, part of his one of his music labels that he has. A musician out of New York who also tokenizes his music on the Ravencoin blockchain, which we are proud to say that we do own a few of his NFT music pieces. Shout out to SOS on side. If this has been recorded, so for people who don't have a chance to catch the live show, there's always a recording later on that we put up on, obviously it's on here and on Spotify. Probably before we do start, the formalities, we're being too formal. Today is an open mic, so welcome people to join us on the mic. Please, if you'd like to come up, ask for the mic to join the show. Probably just sort of reflecting on the past week in terms of what's been happening and some of the things some of the points I got here for us to talk about today. I thought it was sort of like open mic, but obviously just to talk about some of the chains that are tokenizing real estate around the world, and just a couple other points here for us to raise as points of discussion. As I said, please, if you want to join, ask for the mic, and again, these weekly sessions are only as good as the people that also join us on discussion and sharing what's happening from their world. But some of the stuff in the past week, just what's been happening. Actually, I'll put some tweets. There was a Bitcoin conference over the weekend. Well, we ran. I think Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday in the US, in Miami, from memory, which I did catch up on the live stream on YouTube. Probably just going through some of the things. Probably some things I actually sort of reflecting on the past week. I actually go for the very extreme right hand one. My brick walk, just a bit of trying to have a bit of fun, and my brick walk in the morning last week. There's a famous pub here in it, just down the road from us, the Breakfast Creek Hotel, and it's got all these 4Xs on the front of it. And I actually have shared that before. Just to clarify, the 4Xs is actually our local beer. It's nothing in reference to any X-rated things. It's actually our local beer, our state of Queensland. The 4X beer that actually is made just locally as well, just down the road, around 6 kilometers down the road, on the other side of Brisbane from where we are. So just a photo there sharing that the Breakfast Creek Hotel. I think it was built in 1886 from memory. The next tweet there, with Bruce Fenn, who was one of the founders on the Ravencoin blockchain. He was actually the MC for some of the sessions there on the Developers Day on the Thursday at the Bitcoin conference in Miami. So it was great to hear Bruce talk and some of his jokes, dad jokes, or some of them. But got a good laugh from them. So shout out to Bruce Fenton. Enjoyed your MCing. Russ was there. Blockchain John was actually at the blockchain conference in the US. I believe it was on the West Coast. Correct me if I'm wrong, Blockchain John. It was great for you to share some photos with me and Gabriel. Again, there was Gabriel from DigiShares. They had a booth there, and it was great to hear from Gabriel sending out a shout out. From over there, thank you, Blockchain John and Jake from C3 Media for again always very engaging, and always enjoy a chat, and always obviously support what the guys are doing at C3 Media, and equally in terms of what we're doing as well. So thank you, John. what else has been happening there? Oh, actually, in terms of the Bitcoin conference, in terms of the live stream, I actually enjoyed listening to the governor of one of the provinces in Indonesia in terms of what's happening, which we'll sort of talk a bit later on. So some of the things there. Also, actually, as an artist, we do actually buy digital artwork, NFTs, for our properties. And I was actually a guy that No Banks Nearby, that I've pinned up there, actually had a picture of Ayers Rock of one of these astronauts. So shout out to No Banks Nearby. Enjoy your artwork that you put up, your AI artwork you put up on the journey of the astronaut around the world. I've now seen one at Ayers Rock, which is in the central of Australia, and also one actually this morning at the Sydney Opera House. So shout out to No Banks Nearby. I wish I could actually, we wish we could actually have those on the Ravencoin blockchain to actually be able to purchase, because they're fantastic artwork. So that's that one there. We actually, the Brave Land event that happens for the Ravencoin community every month, it's actually been relabeled as Ravencoin Gems monthly event as opposed to Brave Land Gems. We've got a new platform which I'll share actually on this feed in terms of new location, 8-bit metaverse. So looking forward to that, first Saturday US of the month. So that's coming up in June in the new area. What else is here? Oh yes, in terms of the Muhammad Ali, so there's a white hash, a picture, black and white AI picture of Muhammad Ali that we actually own that piece. Again, we love artwork for our properties, and we shared that out. Someone was actually asking, I've got a black and white piece. So shout out to White Hash Art, who actually does fantastic artwork. So that was just sharing that. So come today. So so just a bit of in terms of what those tweets mean. We'll get started. As I said, be great for people to come on and join the conversation. Not too sure. I know Indy that's listening live. I know it's getting a bit late there in the UK. I think it's around 11 o'clock at night, I believe. So I know it's very late for you. But as I said, in terms of if anybody wants to come up, I'm not too sure whether you can talk or not. Blockchain John or Jordan. Hello, Jordan. Thank you for joining us live. And Powerball 66. Again, if you can join, it'd be fantastic. If not, you just have to listen to me in terms of talking about these points here. And you can just have to put up with me talking about all things tokenized real estate. So, but probably just the formalities in terms of without getting too formal. This is what is real estate tokenization show. What is tokened? A show that I host every week about educating in terms of all things tokenized real estate, in terms of what's happening. I'm Luis Miguel Aleixo. I'm the managing director and co-founder of BRIK Projects. We tokenize real estate properties here in Australia. So for us, it's also about to contribute towards the discussion around in terms of the information and content as an industry to put it out there in terms of so we can have more and more people come on board across from whether it's our properties or our colleagues' properties in terms of tokenized real estate around the world. So again, for us, we like to do our part in terms of as an industry and just basically as a blockchain industry in general in terms of again to have people become aware in terms of the freedom or in terms of how can they actually build their wealth without obviously the controlling powers to be around the world that continue to obviously be challenged, and obviously the banking systems continue to be challenged in terms of how people can access real estate. Shout out to the whole miner who just joined us. Thank you, sir. Satori, thank you for joining us. In terms of today's topic, we're sort of focusing around a sort of central topic in terms of different chains, tokenized real estate, and a couple of other points that I've also wanted to bring up. As I said, it is an open mic. But in terms of what is real estate tokenization, again, if you're sort of listening to this for the first time, it's just the basic concept of you basically have a real estate property, whether it's a residential or a commercial property, you basically or industrial for that matter. You basically break up that property into fractions. So it could be 40,000 tokens making up that property, 40,000 fractions of the property. And now anybody has the ability to actually own at least one of those tokens representing the property. Those tokens are created on the blockchain, whether it's a Ravencoin blockchain or other chains, and then basically have the ability to buy that token, have the exposure to the benefits that comes from that property. So that's just the basic concept. As we all know, a blockchain ledger basically records in terms of everybody that has ownership to that token. So it's you can't change it once it's recorded. You can't change it. So it's there for everybody to see without actually knowing who actually owns it. But it's obviously given the in terms of people's wallets that they have, and given their reference. So it's recorded on the blockchain, and basically once it's there, it can't be changed. So that's just the basic concept of tokenized real estate on Web3, and providing now the ability for anybody from around the world to be able to access real estate property. Obviously, we all have different models in terms of myself and colleagues around the world and how it's done, but that's just the basic fundamentals of tokenized real estate. There is different chains, probably just sort of talking about the different chains, and as to the tokenized, I mean, both from ourselves, we tokenize on the Ravencoin blockchain. We did start on Ethereum, and then we switched across to the Ravencoin. There was challenges in terms of Ethereum, in terms of gas fees. So long story, but all to say that we're tokenizing on the Ravencoin blockchain, and our part of our plan is to continue to tokenize our properties on the Ravencoin blockchain. But as I said, in terms there are different chains, and again, it's what suits your model. At the end of the day, there's not a right or a wrong in terms of what blockchain you're going to be tokenizing your properties on. Again, it's a matter of going through it and what suits your model. And because there's various blockchain, there's obviously, as I said, there's the Ravencoin, there's the Ethereum, there's Avalanche, Binance, Polymash. Also, they created their own blockchain just for tokenized real estate. So the guys there through DigiShares, our advisors, and who actually created our platform. So actually had a bit of exposure to Polymash, given that they're originally in terms of how they was basically involved with Ethereum, but they ended up creating their own platform to tokenize real estate on. And now I believe XRP is getting into tokenized real estate as well. So I saw some content during the past week. XRP wanting, obviously there's developers that are building some tools on the XRP blockchain. So again, that's sort of the latest chain. And again, as I said, there is not a right or wrong. It's just a matter of working out in terms of what's right for you. For us, we know what we're doing in terms of the Ravencoin blockchain and the community, and obviously the gas fees, the next to nothing gas fees in terms of being able to buy and sell, given those transactions fees are next to nothing. Again, and obviously just the whole protocol. I'll probably just sort of touch on the Ravencoin blockchain. It was a fork of the Bitcoin blockchain, so the fundamentals. But obviously Bitcoin, in terms of, it wasn't built to tokenize assets on it. So again, that was with Bruce Fenton, and who was involved with the Bitcoin Foundation many years ago, and then obviously saw the opportunity to get Tron Black and to be able to develop a blockchain that was purposely built to tokenize assets on. And so they obviously, with Tron back that back then as being the lead developer, he then basically started creating the Ravencoin blockchain with the whole purpose of it, using the Bitcoin fundamentals, but obviously just specially done to tokenized assets on it. So that's sort of a bit of a history in terms of those blockchain. But I do hear, as I said, in terms of now, Bitcoin, I believe, Bitcoin with the ordinals. I want that's sort of the next sort of stage for. I've sort of heard some things around there, obviously with ordinals, like NFTs, but just another word for NFTs. Obviously assets on the Bitcoin blockchain. So I wonder if that's sort of the path that they're looking at in terms of also adding real estate tokens on the Bitcoin blockchain. Again, I hate to imagine the gas fees, given obviously there's already some issues with the ordinals that people are doing it, given gas fees. Jordan, how are you? I just added as a speaker, Jordan. Hope that sort of works for you.
Hey.
How are you?
Hi, I was just wondering, I was listening to your talking, and I was wondering if you've had any issue. Since you started on Ethereum, you really don't have any need for the smart contract aspect then, if you were able to go to Ravencoin. Is that right?
Correct, yeah, correct. So we started with our first business property on the Ethereum. But even before we launched, we knew there was going to be issues with obviously gas fees. I mean, we obviously were planning this out, and then all of a sudden, halfway through, sort of getting everything ready to launch the first property on the Ethereum blockchain, the gas fees, as you probably remember, the NFTs went crazy around 2 years ago, and all of a sudden the gas fees, it sort of went from you could tokenize the whole series on the Ethereum coin. We sort of budgeted at the most sort of $800 to tokenize the whole series on it, and that was sort of affecting what was happening at the time. And it got to we were about to tokenize the series. It was like $26,000 to tokenize the series for gas fees on Ethereum. So we knew that was going to be an issue in going forward. And so basically, we decided, because there is no smart contract, you said, because basically it's just a token that represents in terms of the property. So there's no automation. So there's no need for smart contracts. Given our model, as I said, look, some of our colleagues, they're doing a different way. They might need the smart contracts given their model, but from our perspective, our model, we don't need smart contracts. So hence, in terms of, it was easy to make a decision to switch to the Ravencoin blockchain, because as you know, the Ravencoin blockchain there's no smart contracts involved. So it made an easy decision, given when we're looking around for an alternative chain, and given our advisors and DigiShares, they actually had at the time they had Ethereum or Ravencoin, so there was only the two chains that we could do it on. And obviously, finding out more about Ravencoin and what was happening, and talking to people like Tron Black, the lead developer. So for us, it was a decision. Obviously, it wasn't a decision to take lightly, because obviously don't want to be switching chains all the time. But something that we knew that Ethereum was going to be sustainable in the long term, especially from our token holders, token buyers, and be able to sell. And given obviously the high costs involved with the Ethereum chain, obviously still high, has gotten a little bit better. Then I think it's back up again in terms of. So for us, it was there was no need for smart contracts, so it was an easy decision from that perspective. Yeah.
Very cool. I just had one more question.
Yeah.
If you don't mind. So I was talking to somebody who visited Bali, I don't know, a little while ago. Anyway, we were talking, and he was saying how Bali, the real estate there, it's not very organized. It's like, if you own a property, you don't really know if you own it for sure, because all the different agencies or title companies keep their own records, and it's just a mess. Is going into countries like that something you're interested in or working towards, giving them a foundational infrastructure they can adopt?
So you're talking about Polymash, the chain?
No, I'm talking about your project for being able to. So you're tokenizing real estate, but in theory, you could tokenize it at 100%. You could be a service that provides an indelible ledger for real estate transactions. Correct. So we've got our own platform, as far as in terms of people when they subscribe, they come onto our platform, they get verified. Once they're there, they basically have the ability to buy our tokens. At the moment, we've got the 2 live properties. But probably sort of focus more on the one on the Ravencoin, the Dolphin property token series, so the Gold Coast property. So people can go on there and be able to buy. So again, it's we got DigiShares to create our platform, and they manage the maintenance of our platform. So it's something that they are the IT gurus when it comes to, well, I'll say global IT gurus in creating platforms for tokenized real estate. So again, they're our advisors, and so basically on there, people got the ability to buy, and then obviously once we sell on the property, they got the ability to sell there. So we're going to have our own secondary market within our platform, so people can buy and sell within our platform. So again, it's they are the best of breed. So
we like to think it's a pretty organised platform what we've got for our tokenized real estate properties. And again, in terms of obviously we use the Ravencoin blockchain that obviously the platform links to in terms of obviously when the people do buy it, in terms of transferring that to their wallets, in terms of the Dolphin property tokens, for example. So we like to think it's a pretty well organised, given it was created by the best of breed.
Okay, cool, very cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, so it's one of those things. Like I said, it's a matter of working out in terms of one, how you create. Do you create your own platform if you're trying to tokenize real estate, or you get somebody who's actually done it and doing it in best of breed like DigiShares to do it for you as a service provider, and then working out what chain. And again, it's not a right or wrong. Just choosing a chain that's right for you, for your model. And the point you made was actually a great point in terms of the smart contracts, because again, there's some projects that in terms of their models they might need, if they're paying out rent, they want to automate certain things, and they might need the smart contracts. So again, it's working out what you need and what chain's going to work for you. Like I said, for us, we don't need smart contracts. Yeah. But I appreciate your question, Jordan. But stay around for the discussion. Look, if there's anything else, please raise. And because these sessions are only as good as the people that come in and participate in the discussion. I just put up points on discussion and obviously share some of our experiences. And please stay around. See a few people that have joined us live. Bono Bo, Vincent, thank you for joining us. Who else is there? JC's back. Hope's all going well with your project, JC. In terms of your SEV and clearing out the site, seeing some of the feeds on your property in the US for your business. So I hope it's all going well. I just scared him away. It's all good. Yeah, look, in terms of just got a couple of things here that I was actually quite impressed with the governor. I did actually pin it up here with the governor of one of the provinces in Indonesia. I mean, Indonesia itself has got 270 million people. It's almost as big in population-wise as the US. So it's a huge population base. Obviously, they sit on our doorstep as far as, we're down here in Australia. But it was actually quite interesting hearing the governor of that province. I think he's going up for presidency next year himself. He's putting up his hand. Just hearing him talk in terms of how they're engaging with Bitcoin and obviously sees the future in terms of how blockchain can be used for their population to help them as a nation. Obviously, they are a developing nation, and just to hear some of the things, his thoughts in terms of embracing and attracting capital from private sector to be able to help them with some of the mining, especially with the mining projects, in terms of some of the energy that they basically got. Energy that's not being used in terms of alternative energy, in terms of given their rivers and hydro and so forth. It was just interesting that he said that they're actually only using half of the energy. So they're welcoming infrastructure investors from around the world to come and actually build, to be able to, in terms of mine Bitcoin. And obviously, so it was great to hear, and a very, very big advocate in terms of what's happening in the blockchain as a whole industry, and it's great to hear a politician talk such a positive way to be able to use the new technology for the benefit of his people. Again, they continue to develop in terms of it's coming down from the lower class, that middle class. So the middle class is building, and with a population base like that, it certainly puts him in a pretty good frame of mind. So again, when you start then talking about tokenized real estate, the ability for people that are coming up and into middle class, given the future, and be able to invest in tokenized real estate as part of their journey, that's mind-boggling. So again, it was great to hear the governor talk about in terms of what his vision is for his country, and I guess stepping up to president. if he does get elected, it sort of certainly takes him in terms of his vision to the next level as a country to be able to do the things he's got planned for his nation. So it was really good to hear. It's actually on thing. It's actually on again, as I said, I heard him talk on the Bitcoin conference. I think it might have been the last day of the so it's on YouTube, the live stream. So it's good to hear sort of what some of the countries, obviously with El Salvador, what's happening with El Salvador, given that I think they're just 2.5 years into their Bitcoin adoption, and given the going next stage with the volcano in terms of volcanic power to power Bitcoin mining operations over there. So it was great to hear some of these nations like El Salvador who are actually doing it now, and the impact it's had on their country from tourism and just sort of basically before Bitcoin the country had no future. But now, given Bitcoin, just the aspirations is actually realistic in terms of people's goals and dreams. So it was just great to hear some of the things that are happening, especially some of those developing countries. But yeah, so it was I'll share. I'll put it up on this feed in terms of just make a note. Hearing that the Indonesian governor talking about in terms of what it means for his country, and I guess this all helps the whole blockchain industry. Obviously, it all started with Bitcoin, but I think people sometimes have to sort of go away from that sort of just narrow-minded in terms of just being one in terms of Bitcoin, and be open to all chains, because again it's horses for courses. Every chain's got its own really point of difference, and again as a collective, as a blockchain industry, all have to move together and not be narrow-minded in terms of again, like I said, in terms of every it's horses for courses. Every chain has its purpose, and again, it's just a matter of supporting the blockchain industry as a whole. So thank you for Steve, who just popped in. I just saw you pop in, Steve. Thank you for joining us live. But yeah, so as I said, it's just a matter of continue to support the industry as a whole. And blockchain, obviously, real estate forms part of one of the subsectors within the blockchain industry. So then you sort of look at other areas like I know I was listening to Tony. They're planning tokenizing real estate in terms of based out of Hong Kong. There's some great movements that's happening in Hong Kong in terms of the government obviously the Chinese government always has got a say, has got an input in terms of what's happening in Hong Kong, but obviously Hong Kong itself at this stage anyway still will obviously being able to sort of make their own decisions. There is a great positive vibe when it comes to tokenizing real estate, blockchain. So again, hearing Tony talk in terms of what they're doing, it was great to see Hong Kong's moving also in the right direction. So just other points here that I've got. Again, please, if you want to come up and join us as a speaker and participate in the discussion, please just ask for the mic and I'll add you to the discussion. There's another point here I wanted to talk about. Was about in terms of XRP. They are moving into tokenized real estate. So as I said, obviously there's developers moving in to be able to create the environment and the platforms on the XRP blockchain to be able to tokenize real estate. So again, as I said, it's obviously some people saw some of the need in terms of using XRP. So again, that's fantastic as a tokenized real estate industry. More and more chains, and it's you're going to have proof of work chains, you're going to have proof of stake chains. Just have to be very careful in terms of which one you choose, given obviously all the issues with the SEC in America and given the chains that, so you just have to also be very careful from that perspective. Again, I think there's still a while to go in terms of until obviously at the moment, with Gary Gensler obviously issuing out notices to different blockchains and what have you, and different exchanges. At the moment, obviously, just have to be very careful in terms of what chain you do choose. Again, it's we all know Bitcoin, as has been said before, it's not a security. And given the fundamentals of Ravencoin being obviously following suit in terms of how it came about, as a Raven coin, it's if you class Bitcoin as not a security, you also have to class Raven coin not a security as well. So again, it's just have to be careful in terms of how these blockchains came about. And so again, it was good to hear some of the politicians, Robert Kennedy Jr. At the Bitcoin conference, and some of the US politicians that did speak. So given the ones that did come up and speak at the Bitcoin conference, it was actually some good vibes from how they were talking. Again, you never know. Sometimes politicians talk is one thing, but what the actions they do is obviously two separate things. So again, but it was good. It was good to hear them in terms of talk about it, and in terms of two of them, so the Republican and Democrats getting together in a committee and be able to move forward to be able to put the blockchain and obviously legislation and so forth in a friendly manner. How they were talking. So it was good to hear those vibes and again, look at I think it was still long, especially from a US perspective. There, it's obviously a while till we get to that point. Obviously, some other countries, like for example Indonesia, I think they're obviously if they're moving in the right direction in terms of how they see blockchain playing a critical part. But yeah, so it's obviously the rest of the world always looks at the US in terms of new technology and the rules that are played out. And I think this will be the same again. So yeah, again, it's just a wait and see, I guess. But again, I think we're just at the moment, for now, we just get on with things and keep building and keep getting out there, and be able to move forward. But yeah, look, it's interesting. With the Bitcoin, the ordinals, I'm not too sure how that's sort of going to pan out. I think from what I picked up, some of the sessions at the Bitcoin conference, I think there was a bit of a split in terms of how people saw ordinals being done on the Bitcoin blockchain, and some didn't agree with it in terms of given obviously the gas fees, the impact, and clogging up the chain. Some of them agreed with. So again, it's and I guess given the ordinals, obviously, if there's no smart contracts, I guess no doubt people will be looking at there to whether they want to tokenize their real estate projects on. So I guess that's sort of next phase, given how ordinals have panned out so far. So, but again, gas fees, I think, is going to be a massive issue. But I guess it's wait and see. But yeah, so that was all the points that I wanted to raise today. And again, is if anybody wants to come up and so I hope there was that blockchain conference, as I said, that Blockchain John, who's actually listening, did attend with Jake from C3 Media. Both of them share fantastic content on the YouTube channel and the various other platforms that they also stream on. So it was great to see at the blockchain conference. I hope no doubt we can catch up. Actually, I haven't caught up on the latest episode of where you did actually give us a roundup of the blockchain conference that you're at. So I'll be trying to catch up on that today, actually. In the background, while working away, always enjoy the fantastic content that John and Jake do on C3 Media. Keep yourself up to date with the in-depth across various projects around the world on the blockchain. So thank you, fantastic contact, John and Jake. But yeah, so look, if there's nothing else, then if nobody wants to come up and ask anything, we'll start wrapping up. And so in terms of from our perspective, we do two shows. Well, I do two shows. I host two shows. This show, and just as a generic in terms of Tokenized RealEstate, on Fridays US, Saturday morning Australian time. I host from BRIK BC project tokenizing Australian real estate properties. So we talk specifically about our projects on that BRIK Q&A every week. So again, be on again this week. But yeah, thank you all for joining us live. Thank you, Indy, Blockchain John, Bono, Bo, Steve, SOS, Jordan, Vincent, in Satori. Really appreciate joining live. Again, this is held same day every week, sometimes different times depending some of the meetings that I have, but so we try to stick to the same time. This one's a bit early today, but yeah, so it's a show that we do try to have some speakers on, some guest speakers on to talk about whatever topic it's on for the day. So again, thank you all for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Take care, stay safe, and more next week. Bye for now.